Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna do a collection video for all of my vintage film cameras. Let's get started. For those of you who don't know, I collect film cameras, which I don't know why you would know that unless you personally know me, but that's besides the point. Now you know. I have a ton of them ranging from the 1920s to the 90s, even maybe early 2000s, so I got all different kinds. They're all cool in their own ways, and I just want to show them to you. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm collecting these because eventually I want to have them in a place where I can really showcase them, like a cool shelf in my future house or something like that. So I'm gonna start with some of the oldest ones that I have, which are these three cameras right behind me. This one here is probably the oldest I have in my collection. You open up this little metal tab right here. This pops out and you pull out the lens. All three of these are Kodak. You'll see that a lot of the cameras I own are Kodak because Kodak was basically a monopoly over cameras back in the day. This thing is in super good condition for how old it is though. Next up, we have the same thing but a mini version. This is called the Vest Pocket Kodak Series 3. It has the same little pop out and pull out the lens situation. This one's a little more beat up. It's kind of falling apart here. You would just like put this in your vest pocket, I guess. Go about your day walking in town. All right, this one I already opened and I cannot figure out how to close it. But this is the newer of the three. It has a little flip up viewfinder right here, along with a little handle on the side. And this one is in great condition. Since these are like mostly mechanical, most of the functions still work. I'm sure if you had the film for it, they would still work. All right, moving on to some of the more interesting looking ones that I have behind me here. We're gonna start off with the Ansco Cadet. This thing is super cute. It kind of looks like a little robot. It doesn't have very many functions on it. You can change it from black and white to color, so I'm sure this one's a bit newer. But basically you pull this tab out and the bottom comes out, which is where you would put your film, I believe. Yep, that's what it says. And the only other functions that it has is for you to wind your film and this red button, which is how you would take your photos. Next up, we have the Brownie Reflex Synchro model. This thing is super cool. It's also a Kodak product. Its main feature that I think is really rad is this top-down viewfinder. It pops up like this and you would just look through here to see what photo you're taking and then press this little guy on the side to take your photo. Next up, we have this Agfa Pioneer, I think it's called. That's what it says on the lens there. This thing is a bit chunky, but it's cool nonetheless. The back here opens up where you would load your film, and it has a few red accents on it. If you take this guy off is how you wind up your film, and this red button is how you would take your photos. Not sure how old that one is. It doesn't seem super old though. Next up, we have the Brownie Target 620. This thing is really cool looking. It's literally just a box. You would hold it like this. Interesting thing about this guy is that it has both a viewfinder from the top and also the side. So if you wanted to look from here and take a photo this way, you would just do so by doing that. I'm not really sure how to open this thing. It does have a few other tabs that you can just like pull out. I have no idea what they do. I don't know how any of you would know, but if you know how to open this, comment down below. All right, next up we have this sweet little camera. This one probably looks a little more familiar compared to the film cameras we have today, but it looks like steampunk or something, I don't know. It just looks super cool because of these gears that it has going on, which I'll show you in a second. Basically, it has the same exact film loading as a regular film camera today. It definitely still works. The main thing that I like about this camera is the gears though. I've never seen anything like this. I'm not the best with the technical stuff of photography. I'm sure you guys will know what this means, but basically, as you're changing the f-stop on this lens, this little gear right here is also changing to match up with these numbers. I just think that that's a really unique thing that I've not seen on many film cameras. Also, I'm pretty sure this camera is called an Argus Centaur. Interesting name. So this one is crazy looking. It's a Polaroid camera, but it's huge and very heavy. It's a Polaroid 800 and it has the same style as those first few cameras that I showed you. This thing pops open, you pull out that thing, and this is your camera. This thing is in great shape. I'm not sure how old it is. The film goes in here somehow, but yeah, super sick camera. Okay, next up, we're gonna talk about the video film cameras that I have. I have quite a few, but I think these might be my favorite ones. I love the way they look. I would love to be able to shoot some video on them one day if I ever found the film for it. Not that I've tried that hard. But also, I'm not sure if any places devices really develop old film like that anymore. Let me know if you know otherwise, but yeah, let me just show you them. Okay, so first up we have the Bell & Howell Electric Eye, I believe it's called. This thing is fully made of metal, so it's pretty heavy. It opens up on this side for you to insert your film, and on the other side is where you would wind up your film. This thing definitely still works because listen to this. So that one's super sweet. Next up, we have a little bit of a bigger one. This is called the Honeywell Elmo. This one is in super good condition, and the film loads in the back like this. So you would just insert it into there, and it has an 8 to 50 millimeter lens on it. Love this one. All right, we have a few more here. We have this Bell & Howell Auto Load one, which I'm sure is a bit newer among the bunch because it does auto load. It has 2 openings on either side. This is where you would insert the film. And on the other side is where you would insert your 4 AAA batteries. All right, next up we have this Sears TLS Auto Zoom C125. Not that I know what any of that means, but that's what this is. The film is inserted on this little guy here. You can change this one to be automatic or manual, which is cool. And it has all the other settings that you would need, basically. Not the biggest fan of this wood sticker, basically, that they have going on here. Moving on. Okay, dare I say it, this might be the coolest film camera I own. Look at it. Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. It looks crazy. It's called the Revere 8. The film goes in on this side right here. Comes with a bunch of different settings and stuff like that you could read through, and exposure and shutter speed settings right here. And the viewfinder literally looks like a telescope. That's so cool. This is how you wind up the film, which is super sweet. And the best thing about it is that it still works. Listen. I would love to see what film looks like on this camera right here. All right, finally, we're gonna get into some of the newer old film cameras that I have. This one is probably from the 90s. I think it was my dad's. It is a Polaroid impulse autofocus, so it has flash on it, which is sweet. I still use this. I have film in here right now. Just so I can show you guys that it works, let me take a photo. Okay, never mind. I think my film is messed up. Look at that. I'm gonna set that aside and see what that looks like in like 10 minutes. Trust me, I've used this before. Next up, we have another one of my dad's old cameras. This one is actually a really nice camera. It's the Canon 8U1. I've used this for film a bunch, and it takes really, really good photos. The lens I have on here is a 50mm 1.8 lens, so it takes super, super crisp photos, one of which you'll be in because I took a photo of you at the beginning. We have a similar looking camera to that one. This is the Olympus OMPC. I've never used this one, and I'm not sure if it's broken or I'm not using it correctly, but I can't even get it to work. Also, it does have a roll of film in it. So I'm not sure whose this is. I'm not sure where I got this camera. It might be my dad's. Next up, we have the Canon Quartz camera. I love this camera. This one is a bit messed up because I remember the last time I used it, it totally wrecked the whole roll of film that I had. So I'm afraid to use it again, but I really liked this camera for the settings that it had of self-timer and pre-focus. And it also has a little pop-up flash on it right here. But since I couldn't use that one anymore, I found this one also in my dad's camera stash. This is a Olympus Trip Autofocus 30. Now this one doesn't have a self-timer, which sucks, but it is what it is. It's a 34mm camera. It does the job, it has flash, and it's super small and tiny. Next up here we have the Minolta QT-SI Maximum. I've never used this one before, but it seems pretty cool because it does have a lot of settings that you can customize on it, like different modes that you would see on a regular digital camera today, like portrait, landscape, sport mode. It has self-timer, it has burst shots, it has everything you could want. Not that I'm like advertising this camera, I've never used it, but it just has a lot of functions. This one is not an old camera, but it's an honorable mention because I love this camera, it's cool. One of my favorite people in the world, Michaela, got me this for my birthday one year. It is called the Rito 3D. This film camera has 3 lenses on it. You've probably seen this before, maybe on TikTok when it was trendy. Essentially what it does is take 3 photos simultaneously, just at slightly different angles. So when you put them all together, they look like this. Anyways, I just wanted to show you how cool this thing was. I think that does it for my film cameras. I do have a few repeats, but I don't want to show you those. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even if you don't care about cameras. I hope you still found it interesting to see all of these old types of cameras we used to have. We don't normally get to see this kind of stuff, so I just think it's cool to collect them. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment down below which one you thought was the coolest. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BolettoSarhad. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye. By the way, guys, something's wrong with my phone because this photo did not come out right. Oh well.